a nation caught, right between ancient history and this rapidly shifting geopolitical chessboard.
It's a fascinating position to be in, definitely.
Well, today we're embarking on a deep dive into Armenia. It's a landlocked nation nestled there in the South Caucasus.
Brimming with history, a really vibrant culture.
Exactly. And a present narrative that's just shaped by dramatic political shifts, some really impressive economic growth, actually, and a booming tourism scene.
Quite a mix.
So, our mission today, to distill the most vital insights and maybe some surprising facts from the sources you've shared with us, we want to guide you through the captivating story of this resilient nation.
Sounds good. It's a complex place worth exploring.
Right. Okay, let's unpack this. To really get Armenia today, I think we have to start with the politics, right? Peeling back those layers, it seems like a place where old grievances clash with very modern ambitions.
That's a good way to put it. Internally, you've got Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan.
Right, the Velvet Revolution leader from 2018. Non-violent protests against corruption got him into power.
Exactly. But he's become quite a polarizing figure now.
Yeah, praise for democratic reforms on one hand, but then some recent moves have stirred up, significant controversy.
Like the new environment minister appointment, Hambardzim Madavosyan, just on July 17th.
Yeah, on the surface, that signals, a focus on green policies. Seems straightforward.
But underneath?
Well, beneath that, we've seen these widespread protests over territorial concessions to Azerbaijan, ceding those 4 villages.
Which critics see as a betrayal, especially after the 2020 Nagorno-Karabakh war.
Absolutely. A betrayal of national interests is how they frame it. And then there's been this crackdown on opposition voices, arrests of critics, even clergy.
It's a tense internal situation. What's fascinating here is how these internal dynamics sort of play out against Armenia's progress on paper.
What do you mean?
Well, despite these challenges, Armenia has actually improved its ranking on the Democracy Index. It's now classified as a hybrid regime.
A hybrid regime. So what does that actually mean in practice?
It means it kind of blends democratic elements like free elections and a pretty vibrant political scene.
Okay.
With these underlying challenges to rule of law, institutional independence, the persistent scrutiny of the judiciary for lacking independence,
right,
and criticism of the Constitutional Court for past political bias. Those are clear examples where that hybrid nature really shows. It impacts public trust.
So it's a tightrope walk, not just externally, but internally as well.
Yeah.
That balance between reform and, control.
Precisely.
And that brings us neatly to the external picture, where Armenia seems to be making a really bold pivot.
Definitely seems that way.
We're seeing this clear distancing from Russia, freezing participation in the CSTO, the Collective Security Treaty Organization.
Which is a big signal.
And at the same time, they're actively exploring EU membership. Pashinyan even suggested Armenia could become a full EU member in, 20 years?
Yeah, quite a long-term vision, but the ambition is there.
And then, maybe the biggest step, potentially historic. Pashinyan met Azerbaijan's President Aliyev in Abu Dhabi, just on July 10th, 2025.
To discuss a peace agreement, yeah. That's huge if it leads somewhere. If we connect this to the bigger picture. Armenia's foreign policy is like a high-stakes chess game. Really complex.
How so?
Well, they're strengthening ties with the EU, yes, through that comprehensive and enhanced partnership agreement.
Okay.
But they're also engaging with, economic giants like China and the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, the SCO.
Diversifying their options.
Seems like it. And then there are these warming relations with Turkey. Talks of reopening borders to boost trade. That would be a massive shift economically and geopolitically.
But Russia's still in the picture, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. The shadow of Russia looms large. Ukraine's intelligence claimed Moscow is bolstering its military base in Gyumri.
Right.
And Armenia's continued economic dependence on Moscow, well, that definitely complicates this westward tilt. It makes you wonder how much room they really have to maneuver.
So it's a very, very delicate balancing act they're performing.
Exactly.
It really is. And as you listening, consider these intense internal pressures and these huge external realignments. Just think about the immense difficulty of navigating such competing interests for any nation. It really highlights the complexities Armenia faces every single day. Here's where it gets really interesting, because given that intricate political dance, you might expect the economy to be struggling.
You might think so.
But surprisingly, it's actually been on this remarkable growth trajectory.
Quite remarkable, yeah.
In 2022, real GDP growth hit 12.6%. That was the highest in the entire region.
Wow. And a lot of that was fueled by the influx after the Ukraine war, wasn't it? Russian migrants, businesses' capital.
Exactly, a huge factor. And the tech sector is a real standout too, growing over 20% annually now.
Contributing, about 7.5% to GDP?
That's right. And events like the 2019 World Congress on Information Technology and the Starmus Festival in 2022, they've really helped put Armenia on the global tech map.
Yeah, the tech scene is booming, but this raises an important question. How diversified is that growth, really? Well, while tech is exciting, mining, copper, and gold especially still makes up over half of Armenia's merchandise exports. That's a huge chunk.
Right. That's significant dependence on one sector.
And agriculture still employs around 30% of the workforce. Think Armenian brandy, apparently a favorite of Winston Churchill.
Maybe that was his secret.
Could be. And financially, things look somewhat stable on the surface. The central bank reported the exchange rate at about 384 drams to the US dollar on July 11th, 2025.
Okay, some stability there.
And you see big players like Arch and Bank reporting capital over 386 billion AMD this year. Real estate transactions are up to almost 4,800 deals in April 2025.
A lot of Russian buyers involved there, I read.
Yes, a significant number. But here's the challenge. While the growth is real, some call it Trojan horse's growth.
Trojan horse.
Because it's fueled significantly by Russian capital, which simultaneously exposes Armenia to Moscow's political and economic influence. It creates this paradoxical dependency.
I see. So the narrow export base, the reliance on remittances, especially from Russia, those are the biggest hurdles.
Absolutely. Makes the economy vulnerable. It's a double-edged sword, those economic ties.
But there are opportunities too.
Oh yes. Armenia seems quite open to Chinese investment, and they're expanding digital payments, linking up with Alipay plus Base, for instance, trying to broaden the base.
It's a really fascinating picture. Rapid expansion, but with these inherent risks baked right in. So how do you think a nation can sustain that kind of rapid growth while navigating these vulnerabilities, especially when so much seems tied to, well, an unpredictable external power? It's a tough one to figure.
Okay, so from strategic plays and economic balancing acts, let's dive into something maybe more fundamental. Armenia's vibrant culture.
Oh, absolutely. It's core to their identity. It really feels like this blend of incredibly ancient heritage and modern creativity. You know, Armenia was the first nation to adopt Christianity way back in 301 AD.
And its monasteries, its churches. They're UNESCO treasures for a reason. Truly breathtaking.
And Yerevan, the capital, 2,800 years old, it's such a dynamic cultural hub. They host things like the Golden Apricot International Film Festival.
Which just kicked off recently, didn't it? With French and Dutch support, I believe. If we connect this to the bigger picture, Armenian culture resonates globally. Think about the music, the traditional duduk, that ancient woodwind instrument.
Oh yeah, the sound from the Gladiator soundtrack. Haunting.
Exactly, that's Armenian, all the way to modern jazz. And there are great preservation efforts, like the Stepan Alakanian Puppet Theater in Gyumri, keeping traditional crafts alive.
But it's not just traditional, is it?
Not at all. You have modern flair, too. Figures like model Ashot Gregorian walking for Dolce & Gabbana in Rome recently.
Wow. But even culture isn't immune to the tensions.
No. Definitely not. Cultural institutions face real challenges. Critics accuse the government of sort of sidelining the Armenian church amidst all the political tensions.
And there were those arrests linked to the Tavuch for the Homeland movement, including church leaders.
Yes, exactly. Concerns about cultural suppression have been raised. It really underscores how deeply intertwined culture and politics are in Armenia. It's not separate.
And the diaspora's role.
Oh, vital. The global Armenian diaspora is crucial in keeping traditions alive through things like the Armenian weekly newspaper in the US or youth programs like Camp Hayastan. They maintain that connection.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? How culture can be both this powerful source of unity, but also become a point of contention, especially when it gets tangled up in politics and national identity. Okay, finally, let's look at tourism. This seems to be an area where Armenia is really genuinely shining.
It really is a rising star, yeah.
The numbers are pretty staggering. An impressive 15% annual growth rate between 2010 and 2022.
Making it one of the world's fastest growing tourist destinations during that period.
And safety seems to be a huge draw, ranked among the top 10 lowest crime rates globally. That's a major selling point for travelers.
Definitely. And the country just offers such diverse appeal. Yerevan's cafes are great, lively.
Yeah.
And then you have ancient monasteries like Gegard carved out of rock, plus rolling highlands, lush valleys, fast-flowing rivers. There's something for pretty much everyone. It's fascinating here is the breadth of attractions. You can explore fortresses that are like 3,000 years old.
Incredible.
or go hiking up Mount Aragat's, the highest point, or just relax, sip wine at vineyards.
Sounds appealing. And the food.
Unforgettable. Lavash, the flatbread, dolma. Yerevan also has this really electric nightlife scene now.
And getting there is easier.
Yeah, new flight routes are helping, like Etihad Airways starting a Yerevan-Abu Dhabi service in March 2026. And digital payment systems like Alipay Plus make things easier for visitors once they arrive.
And the economic impact.
Significant. In 2022, tourism receipts tripled, boosted hugely by Russian visitors again.
But challenges here too, aren't there? Vulnerabilities.
For sure, that flooding back in 2024 displaced hundreds. It really highlighted the need for sustainable, robust tourism infrastructure. You can't just grow without planning for things like that.
Right.
And again, those regional tensions and the economic reliance on Russia, they directly influence tourism growth too. The government's push to unblock routes with Azerbaijan and Turkey, it's a potential game changer for tourism.
And also a gamble.
Exactly. A gamble if those peace talks falter. Stability is key for tourism.
It's a remarkable story of growth, definitely. But as you visualize yourself exploring Armenia, you really have to consider that delicate balance, don't you? Between promoting this rapid growth and ensuring long-term sustainability, long-term stability. Especially when those external factors weigh so heavily. So as we wrap up this deep dive, it just seems abundantly clear that Armenia is a nation at a crossroads, really navigating uncharted waters. Politically, it's juggling democratic reforms with these persistent regional tensions, all while trying this very strategic, maybe high-stakes pivot toward the West.
A complex balancing act, as we said.
Economically, yeah, tech and tourism are driving impressive growth, but that Trojan horse aspect we talked about, tied to Russian capital, it just underscores how key diversification is.
Right.
Reducing those vulnerabilities.
Crucial for a long-term health.
Culturally, Armenia's ancient heritage is, well, it's a global treasure. But it faces challenges from internal divisions, deeply tied into the political landscape.
Culture and politics are inseparable there right now.
And in tourism, its safety, its beauty, they're drawing crowds.
Yeah.
But sustainability, navigating regional stability, those are absolutely critical for its continued rise.
And the recent news just highlights all of this, doesn't it? From peace talks to arrests. It's all happening at once. So what does this all mean? Looking ahead, it's this fascinating push-pull, isn't it?
Yeah.
The shadow of Russia, it definitely still looms large, even as the promise of closer EU ties offers this potential new direction.
And the peace process.
And of course, the hope for lasting peace with Azerbaijan, that remains pivotal, but it's still so uncertain. As Prime Minister Pashinyan himself said at the GLBEFSEC 2025 forum, Armenia's vision is bold.
But the path is fraught.
Exactly. It feels like they're playing chess on about a dozen different boards simultaneously.
Which leads to a final thought for you to ponder. Considering Armenia's incredibly rich history and all these current strategic moves we've discussed, what do you believe is the single most critical factor for its future stability and prosperity? Is it the internal reforms? Is it the external alliances they're trying to build? Or maybe it's that ability to finally reconcile with its neighbors? Something to think about.
A tough question with no easy answer.
Indeed. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into Armenia. We hope you feel a little more well-informed about this complex and captivating nation.